Thank you for joining us. We're here for our very first Chamber Chat. I am Stephanie Nelson, the Executive Director of the Melrose Chamber of Commerce, and I'm thrilled to have with me two guests today. Gabriella Snyder-Stelmack, who's the Executive Director of the Bread of Life in Malden, and Lauren Lietzau, who's the Manager of Foundation Trust. Thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So happy December. Is everybody getting into the holiday spirit?
Yes.
Yes.
Happy to say shopping in Melrose. Love the shops. So put a plug in for that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the support. We had a big event this weekend home for the holidays, and despite some inclement weather on Saturday, it was a great weekend. So, well, thank you, ladies, for being here. We wanted to chat a little bit about both of your organizations and how you're working together. And then I believe there's a partnership and matching program that we're going to talk about. Great. So, Gabriella, how long have you been with Bread of Life?
Since 1988.
Wow.
So I started pretty early on. So Bread of Life did start in Malden, Mass. in 1980 out of a church supper. And they ended up having some homeless folks walk in and then decided to open it up to whoever wanted to come in for a meal. And from then it's grown to many other programs, pantries, grocery delivery, food delivery to homeless families in motels. I know I'm going to forget things. The Everett Pantry, and of course the Backpack Project in Everett, which we'll talk about with the Foundation Trust. So now we're doing, 1.5 million pounds of food a year. We're one of the biggest shoppers at the Greater Boston Food Bank.
Wow.
So we're moving tons of food every week and getting it out to the community.
It's amazing work. And can you talk a little bit about how it was impacted during COVID? I know you used to serve meals and then they were meals to go. Are you back to serving or?
Well, we've had a few different transitions, but you're right. The sit-down congregate meal that we have in Malden Center is actually one of our smaller programs, but it's very important because it is a way of linking our partner groups. For example, we have several partners, churches and the Rotary and so on in Melrose.
Yes,
I think we have 7 partner groups. We have about 45 total. Wow. We have schools, including, we have Arlington Catholic that comes in. We have St. John's Prep that's helped us. Malden Catholic, it's irregular. Malden High School. Melrose High has gotten involved. Many different partner groups, and a lot of them help at the meals. And now we're getting more and more help at our warehouse pantry. So the big change, first of all, I'm so proud of the staff and volunteers. We have 17 staff, most of which are part-time, and then we have a good 500 volunteers.
Wow.
And with COVID, of course, a lot of people immediately had to say, I can no longer volunteer, because we have a lot of retirees and people who needed to protect their health or were caregivers for someone.
Sure.
But we never closed. I'll never forget when I heard the announcement. I think it was March 13th, and we compared notes, and we never closed for anything. So immediately the pantry went as a grab and go. All the pantries, wow. Everett Pantry at the Lafayette School. That was a move because we had been at Everett City Hall, and they shut down the 13th.
Wow.
So it took us a few months to find another space, but we started doing drive up and walk through at the school, which has worked. So actually we're continuing.
That's wonderful.
Instead of people having to come, we decided we
bring
would
it to
go
them.
where they are, and that's a need that's near a low-income census tract that's actually in Malden, as well as Everett high need areas. So that's a good place for us.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's amazing that you never closed.
Yeah. And our Malden Pantry, which is where most of our food goes, I would say that we probably would be back in person, except in the meantime, we already had a building project that we've been working on for years to build a new facility at Eastern Ave.
Oh, that's exciting.
So we actually are temporarily in a warehouse space at 109 Madison, and there just isn't, there isn't the distribution space inside.
Sure. Tell me a little bit more about the new building, the new space.
Yeah, well, this has been a project that a lot of the cities have been involved in. We are working with another nonprofit called Metro North Housing Corp. So the combined facility, it's total demolition. The old building is gone. The site work is already underway. I'm hoping the pilings will be sunk maybe this week, next week.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
We were hoping to get it before the winter freeze. So this weather that's in the 50s, this is good. Can
This
we
is
just
helpful.
keep this going? That would be really great.
And what's the timeline, Gabriella? When are
It'll
you
take
hoping?
14 months. We're
14
hoping it'll
months.
be done by the end of 2023. So it will be 2 floors of Bread of Life. So there will be, the warehouse entrance, sort of the loading dock entrance, but there will be walk-in fridges and freezer rooms for all the programs. There's going to be, this is one of the main things, is we never had our own dining hall and kitchen. We've always had to use spaces, and a lot of them have just really been helping us
Tested.
limp along. They have been difficult, not accessible, not up to date by code, so many things. So we'll have
So you'll have a
commercial
dining hall.
kitchen, a dining hall, and a multi-purpose hall that we can have other community events, performance events. We're setting it up with all the IT.
That's fantastic.
And then our superette. So now we'll have what we've wanted for a long time, which is client choice. So it really will be like a little supermarket where you'll see the food on display. We already have the glass refrigerator, freezers. Reach in, get what you need.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that you're not going out of things with things that you don't need. Because we serve, 80% of the people we serve are identify as BIPOC, non-white. They're from many, many cultures. As you know, because it's all over this area, multiple languages spoken. We translate our documents and information into 5 languages.
Wow.
Wow.
Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian Creole, Arabic. And we also have other translators on hand that are mainly come in from those communities to help with interpreting when people come for services.
Wow.
So people, coming from different cultures
Sure.
want
Certain
different types
products.
of
Yeah,
food.
absolutely.
Right.
So that really is very helpful toward the nutrition end and getting the bulk of what we give out is fresh produce.
Wow. Now, how is this new building being funded? Is it federal money? Is it grants?
It was a real combination. You had mentioned earlier, chatting before the call, that the silver lining. Well, the silver lining of COVID was that because food security became a international issue, a lot of funds were designated. So we benefited from ARPA funds from the state, a few different grants of hundreds of thousands, and from the city of Malden.
That's wonderful.
We also got, and Melrose is part of the consortium, the North Suburban Home Funds, to do the housing component. So the housing partner has 14 units of permanent, affordable studio apartments on the 3rd floor. First 2 floors basically
In
Bread
your
of
new
Life,
building.
and the new building is going to be permanent, affordable
Wow.
units for formerly homeless veterans.
Excellent. Well, we could chat for
Yeah, that's
hours because I want to make sure I give Lauren an opportunity. Lauren is the manager of Foundation Trust. Can you tell us a little bit about Foundation Trust and your role there?
Sure. So I'm manager at the Foundation Trust. We are a private operating foundation, and so we do a lot of grant making in Melrose and surrounding communities. And so that was how we came to be connected with Bread of Life. We also kind of do some of our own programming as well. We have an internal expertise in complex trauma. And so that informs a lot of what we do, just in terms of working with people who are facing some kind of life adversity. So whether that's that they're healing from some kind of abuse or prior trauma, or are coming from some kind of disadvantaged situation, it can be youth who are at risk for various reasons. We have done work along with seniors who are not necessarily as engaged as they would like to be, and helping create some programs to get them back out into the community. We do a lot with advancing inclusivity in the arts. So it really is just kind of finding ways to raise people up and give them some new opportunities. So it looks a lot of different ways, but really the core comes down to kind of helping people who have faced some kind of adversity in their life and working with programs in the community that are doing that hard work on the ground. And so that was, we first connected with Bread of Life back in, was it 2020? Was that our first year?
So, yeah.
And so that was through our grant making program, which will be back in Melrose for this coming year. And
How do people find out about Foundation Trust? What is your website? And
Sure. Yeah. So everything's on foundationtrust.org. And we have, a number of resources that we've created kind of around that complex trauma topic. But as I mentioned, our grant making will be coming up for next year. And that opens up, I believe, in early January. So folks can take a peek at the application and whatnot there if they're interested. So we partner mostly with nonprofits, city programs, and folks that are kind of doing work in those couple of program tracks that I mentioned.
Do you work with the Melrose Alliance Against Violence? Seems like there'd be some natural synergies there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I had met with Rebecca Mooney when she was still there, and have connected now with Crystal. And so
Crystal's fantastic.
It's been great getting to know everybody in the community and kind of building these different partnerships with Bread of Life as well. We have been sending volunteers on a monthly basis in partnership also with the Council on Aging here in Melrose. And so getting together a group of volunteers and going over. So
great.
it's been really fun getting to get involved in the community.
Yeah, I think one thing that, I joked with Lauren earlier, I'm a proud Downie. I live in the house that I grew up in. And I think one thing that really sets Melrose apart is the connectivity, right? And one thing that we did see during COVID is the isolation that so many felt, not just seniors, but so many people felt disconnected. And I think now as we're emerging from that, connectivity is so important. And we actually are working with a group of female nonprofit leaders to try and partner together to go after bigger resources rather than looking at it as competing interests. I think it's really important when nonprofits work together. So for our listeners, how can they support both of you? How can they support the Bread of Life? How can they support Foundation Trust? What are your wishes for 2023? Is there an opportunity? Can we talk a little bit about maybe the matching program and the partnership?
Definitely. Yeah. So right now we actually have, as one of our grant activities with Bread of Life, a challenge match that we're running. And so the Foundation Trust will be matching any donations to the backpack program that are made this year. So as folks are kind of thinking about the season of giving and where they want to make some donations through the rest of the year, then we hope you'll consider Bread of Life, because this is really an opportunity to make our money go that much farther. So we hope that folks will take that into consideration.
Yeah, that's a great gift to us, really. And I believe the number we've raised so far has been $3,000, and the foundation is going to match $5,000, up to $5,000 for one-time gifts. So we've already had about $3,000 worth of those, and then they'll match 100% of any monthly gifts. I don't know what the count of that is, but up to a total of $10,000 between the two pots.
And is there a link on the Bread of Life website?
Yeah.
To access this? Okay. And is it breadoflife.org?
breadoflifemalden.org.
Great. And we can include that in the podcast as well. Is there anything else that you want our listeners to know? Any plans that are happening? Any ways for people to participate? It sounds like you have a huge volunteer network. Are you looking for additional support?
We're constantly looking for volunteers. Not only do we have the Christmas dinner, at Thanksgiving we served about 1,300 meals and did delivery to a whole bunch of cities. We delivered 964 meals Thanksgiving Day, and that's mainly all through volunteers and volunteers contributing turkeys and so on. It's not quite as the same process for Christmas, but we are looking for volunteers, so we can always see our website. There's a volunteer page, and then we have volunteers that we use every day. As Lauren was saying, this group from the Senior Center in Melrose comes down, so there is enough variety in the work that pretty much we can find something for anyone to do.
Right.
We have disabled residents coming in, like groups that maybe live in a group home. We have transitions group from the high school, so kids that are trying to get more job skills. And people can volunteer an hour or 4 hours, one off. Our volunteer coordinator is Eileen Mullen.
Okay.
You can email her or just go to the website.
She'll
If
take
you
care of you.
click, she will get you hooked up. Absolutely.
And ideally, is it more successful to have it be a group supporting? I know I'm part of the Rotary, and they've got a consistent program where every Thursday they're packaging meals and then bring them. Is it something that you're looking to partner with more churches?
Well, for the meal program, definitely. As you said, it doesn't have to be a church. It's schools, it's clubs. We used to have like the Knights of Columbus. That's a great activity. And we'll also we have different businesses that will come in and just do, let's say, a packing day. Like, okay, you're available this time. You're going to work with the grocery delivery program. And you're going to pack boxes.
It's a good team building experience,
but otherwise,
too.
you do not have to be with any kind of group. That's one of the things to talk about building community is volunteering is a great way to be involved in something meaningful. And you make friends, you meet people, you work it together.
Yeah,
It builds community.
I saw a piece on the nightly news last night where they were talking about a woman that was serving, and she said she arrives and she feels purpose, and she leaves and she feels fulfilled. And I think
That's
if
lovely.
you haven't volunteered before, you don't know the impact that it actually has. You think you're giving,
Yeah.
but you get so much out of it. So we encourage people to look up breadoflifemalden.org and Foundation Trust. And for those of you that are looking for places to give this holiday season, please consider the Bread of Life in Malden. And I thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having us.
Thank
I hope
so
you have
much.
a wonderful holiday season, and I hope you'll come back next year.
You too,
Absolutely.
Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you.